with the session. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Deshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So I'll share my screen. So today we are going to discuss 6.47, 6th chapter, 47 sloka of Bhagavad Gita. So before we start, I'll just give a short context of this sloka. So if you see, this chapter is called as Dhyana Yoga, the sixth chapter. You know, there are so many yoga processes which Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. So this chapter is Dhyana Yoga, in which this 47th sloka is the last sloka. So in before this sloka, Krishna explains so many things about Dhyana Yoga, and the last he speaks this verse. So actually, if you observe the flow of discussion of Bhagavad Gita, so till now, uh, Arjuna was asking question to Krishna, and Krishna was explaining those questions to Arjuna. But this sloka, Krishna speaks on himself out of compassion for all the living entities. So it's like Krishna's, you can say, love letter for all of us, all the jivas which are present in the world. So with this context, let us recite the sloka. Yoginamapi sarvesam madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha. Now let us read the purport. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So yeah, so first of all of us might be knowing this yoga. The word yoga means connection with the Lord. The word yoga means connection with the Lord. So now Krishna is telling, Yoginam api sarvesham. In all the yogis which are there, who is the topmost yogi? He says, Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamomata. That yogi who worships me with devotion, with faith, that is the topmost yogi. That is my opinion. That's what Krishna is telling. Now let us read the purport on this. The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the verb bhaj, which is used when there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith. So this is very important line. Service with love and faith, especially meant for Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or demigod and may be called discourteous, but one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. So let us understand this thing. Here, if you read this word, it said that every living entity is part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who says this? Krishna himself says this. He says that every living entity in some verse he says, Mamaiva ansa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. He said that Mamev ansa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. That jiva is Mamev ansha. It is my part and parcel. So jiva, all jivas, like all of us, are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And thus, Every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord. So, being the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, our constitutional nature, the constitutional position is to serve Him. So Krishna says, Mame vansa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana mana sastani indriyani prakriti karshati. Then he says that because he is the person is actually engaged, he is bound by this mind and sense and everything, and he is suffering over here. So the word here, if you read here, it is said that every living entity is part and parcel of Supreme Lord, first of all, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Lord by his constitution. So every living entity's constitutional position is to serve the Lord. But failing to do this, he falls down. Now, what is the meaning of falls down? So all of us we know that. Uh, I think the previous sessions it was there that material world is a place of suffering. Dukkhalyam ashashvatam. So this falling down is being not connected with the Lord is actually fall down only. So material world is a place of suffering. So being in the material world itself is actually a fall down. Even we may have all riches and everything, but we are not connected with the Lord, who is our the main proprietor, you can say in one sense, because we are part and parcel of the Lord. If we are not connected to the supreme whole, then actually we actually have fallen down. That's what this means. And therefore, this next line says that the Bhagavatam confirms this as follows. या येषां पुरुषं साक्षात् आत्मा प्रभवम् ईश्वरं न भजन्ते अवजानन्ति स्थानात् भ्रष्टात् पत्यन्ति अधः. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. So, what is meaning of fall down? As we all understand, basically means we are not connected with the Lord, and which is our constitutional position. And why it is our constitutional position? Because we are part and parcel of the Lord. So, since we are not connected, that itself means fall down. So, being in material world is fall down only. Even though we might have all riches, but still it's fallen down only because ultimately in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukha Doshanu Darshanam. Ki Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. It's very simple. The birth, old age, death, and disease are four sufferings which anyone has to suffer. So that itself is a fall down because we are not connected with the Supreme Lord. And why we have to connect ourselves with Supreme Lord? Because that's our constitutional position. We are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. I wish Mamev Ansha Jiva Loki. We are Ansha of the Lord. So therefore, this is very important to understand. So in this verse also, the word Bhajanti is used. Therefore, Bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only. Oh, sorry, the screen was not shared. Huh? Sorry, my mistake. I thought it is getting shared.
Yeah, it's getting shared too. Whenever you speak, I'm not sharing.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, so we are reading in this paragraph. In this verse also, the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only. Whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajananti used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is also found in Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti ma mudha. Only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and word worship. So I think previously also this verse was discussed. What is the qualification to understand Bhagavad Gita? So many times Krishna speaks, but like bhaktya mam abhijanati, and then like who can understand Bhagavad Gita? So Krishna says that in one verse he says that Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam, that this is topmost secret. So one may ask why this is topmost secret? Why? Because it is available for everyone. Then how come it is topmost secret? So why it is topmost secret? Because people generally don't understand how to understand Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna says, Hey Arjun, I am telling to you because you are my bhakta. Bhakto asime sakha cheti. He says that you are my bhakta, you are my friend. Therefore, I am explaining this Bhagavad Gita to you. So, who can understand Bhagavad Gita? Who has developed the qualities of Arjuna, which is devotion to the Lord and faith on the Lord? That person only can understand the true meaning of Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, it is mentioned over here is that Um, Only the fools and rascals derive the supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. They may write commentaries also. There are so many people who write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, but they don't believe in Krishna only. They don't believe Krishna is existing. They just write their own commentary. So therefore, they cannot understand the service attitude of the Lord, the service nature of the Lord. They cannot understand only. Yeah. So now we'll move ahead to the next paragraph. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in Bhakti Yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of Bhakti in Bhakti Yoga. Yoga actually means Bhakti Yoga. All other yogas are progressions toward the destination of Bhakti Yoga. From the beginning of Karma Yoga to the end of Bhakti Yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma Yoga, without fruitive results, is the beginning of this path. When Karma Yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called as Jnana Yoga. When Jnana Yoga increases in meditation on the super soul by different physical processes and the mind is on him, it is called as Ashtanga Yoga. And when one surpasses the Ashtanga Yoga and comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, it is called Bhakti Yoga, the culmination. So actually, Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal. But to analyze Bhakti Yoga minutely, one has to understand this other yoga. So now let us understand this whole thing which is being discussed over here. This is very important to understand. So there are so many different yoga processes which is described in Bhagavad Gita. There are so many yoga processes which has been described in Bhagavad Gita. So if you know, there are so like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. This chapter name itself is Dhyana Yoga. So there are so many yoga processes that is called as yoga ladder, where it is from bottom to the top. So if you see the purport, here in the purport it is mentioned that Karma Yoga is the beginning of all the yoga processes. So Karma Yoga is the beginning of all the yoga processes. And that it is written that Karma Yoga without fruitive results. So technically the name of this thing is called as Nishkam Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga without fruitive results is the beginning of this path. When Karma Yoga say person elevates himself to come to Jnana Yoga, and then in the Jnana Yoga the person is having knowledge and develops some detachment, and then further it develops to sorry further it develops to Ashtanga Yoga. In the Ashtanga Yoga, person tries to meditate on the form of the Lord, and ultimately after doing all these yoga processes, person comes ultimately to the Bhakti Yoga, which is the culmination, which is the culmination. Culmination means after doing everything, ultimately you are coming to the topmost process, which is called as Bhakti Yoga. Who is telling this? Krishna himself is telling this. This is the verse which he talks about. If you read the translation again, it says that Yoginam api sarvesham mad kate antaratma. I mean, topmost yogi, after doing everything, who is that topmost yogi? That person who does loving service, who rendered loving service to me. And as I told you earlier, the introduction, that this verse, Krishna himself speaks. It was not asked by Arjuna. And that means what? It shows the love and compassion of Krishna to all of us. See, in the scripture, it is mentioned that even if you do all kind of different process of yoga processes like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, so many things, it will never take us to the spiritual world. You must be aware of the spiritual and material world. We are all in this material world, which is a place of suffering. Krishna says, Dukhalyam ashashvatam. It is place of misery and it is temporary. Ashashvat means which is very temporary. So we all are in this material world, which is of course a dukhalaya. And to get out of this material world is our life goal. So in all different processes which are mentioned, karma, jnana, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, they never take us to the spiritual world. Only bhakti yoga is the process which takes us to the spiritual world. Who is telling this? Krishna is telling this. So, why, as Krishna says, Mame Vansha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So, constitutional position, we are part and parcel of the Lord. So, our constitutional position is to serve the Lord. So, the service part which is there, to love and to serve the Lord with love. That is the thing. So, this process is called as Bhakti Yoga, which is the topmost process, and it takes This is the process which actually takes us from material world to the spiritual world. And therefore, out of compassion, Krishna starts to speak this shloka. In fact, Arjuna didn't ask anything about it. He himself speaks. And from this chapter, this is the end of sixth chapter. And afterwards, start the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And 7 to 12 chapter, he elaborately describes about Bhakti Yoga process specifically. So we can see that how Krishna is so compassionate on us that he wants us to get connected with him so that we can come out of this whole cycle of birth and death. So, this from this chapter, from this 6.47, the next seventh chapter starts. And in fact, therefore, in the seventh chapter, first sloka, if you see, Krishna says that, please hear, he says to Arjuna, please hear this very attentively, because this is the topmost knowledge which is going to be discussed here. So, therefore, we can understand that among all these yoga processes which has been described in Bhagavad Gita itself, who is Krishna only is describing, and then he is telling which is the topmost. He himself is describing, telling it about. Now we can read further. Yeah, so factually, Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal. Factually, Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal. But to analyze Bhakti Yoga minutely, one has to understand this other yogas. The yogi who is progressive is therefore on the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to a particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name. Karma Yogi, Gyan Yogi, or Dhyan Yogi, Raj Yogi, Hatha Yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yogas. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga. Just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountains, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. So here it is told that like person, if it is progressing from karma to jnana or ashtanga yoga, then the person is on the right track. But if one sticks to one particular position, therefore they fall as karma yogi, jnana yogi, or dhyana, wherever the person is still. But it is very the beauty of bhakti yoga is so wonderful that anyone can start it from wherever the person is. So Krishna doesn't discriminate. So it's not that one has to go from karma yoga to attain jnana and then ashtanga and then ultimately he has to come to bhakti yoga. No, one can directly jump to bhakti yoga, which is the topmost process as has been described over here. So since bhakti yoga is the topmost process, and the good fortune for all of us, the compassionate nature of the Lord and the process of bhakti is so wonderful that it doesn't require us to actually follow from karma to jnana, the ladder which is being described. We can actually directly come to bhakti yoga process. Therefore, the next paragraph tells us about, it is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness on the path of bhakti yoga. It is very great fortune to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shama Sundar, who is as beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is as effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower garlanded. Illuminating all sides is his gorgeous lustre, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. He incarnates in different forms such as Ram, Narasimha, Varaha, and Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda. And he is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudev. He is the perfect child, husband, friend, and master. And is full with all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. So, if we focus on all this, this is the process of Bhakti Yoga, which is in short being described over here. If we follow this process of Bhakti Yoga, then we are called as the highest yogi. So this stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga, as confirmed in all Vedic literature. यस्य देवे परा भक्ति यथा देवे तथा गुरौ तस्य ते कथिता ह्यर्थ प्रकाशन्ते महात्मना. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.23. Bhaktir asya bhajanam tat iha murtropadhi nairashinam mushnam manam kalpanam etat eva naishkarmyam. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. This is very important line, actually. So when we perform bhakti process, we don't aspire things from the Lord. Like if it's like selfless love, we try to love the Lord without any material ulterior motive. We are trying to love and serve the Lord without free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. So this is very important. It's not that we are doing some business with the Lord. Ki Lord, we have seen now in our day-to-day life. We go to the temple and we say that if please Lord give me this favor, so I will do this one. I will go to Tirupati and shave my head and all this. It's good. It's not that it's bad, but yeah, the topmost thing is what we don't desire anything personally from the Lord. We just want to love and serve the Lord. That is the highest yoga, which is called as Bhakti Yoga. Devoid of such inclinations, one should fully absorb the mind in the supreme. That is the purpose of Naishkarmya. These are some of the means for performance of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. So yeah, we understood from this whole thing that how bhakti yoga is the topmost process and which is the highest stage of yoga system. We have karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and bhakti yoga is the topmost system. And this in the last few paragraphs it was described few things how to perform bhakti yoga. So in short, if you want to here it has been mentioned also that it is a few things which has been described. So if how to perform bhakti yoga, in one sense we can say that in one's understanding that, let's say, like all of us are chanting. We started our discussion of this session by chanting. So chanting is one of the process of performing bhakti yoga. So whatever rounds we may be chanting in our homes or wherever we are, so we should chant with very attentiveness, with love and emotion for the Lord. So this is one of the method to express, to perform bhakti yoga. Similarly, association of devotees, like-minded people, the devotees of the Lord, associating with the devotees of the Lord. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. When devotees come together and discuss the pastimes of the Lord, that gives so much of joy to the soul, to the Atma. So therefore, associating with the devotees regular basis, like for example, all of you come also regularly and some when sessions happen. So physically meeting with the devotees and whoever we are in touch with, discussing Krishna Katha, trying to understand Bhagavad Gita, learning Bhagavad Gita, all these processes actually comes under Bhakti Yoga process. And then sometimes going to the dhams also, going for yatras, holy places like Vrindavan, Ayodhya, and Tirupati, and all those holy places, visiting holy places, knowing the glories of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord on those places, along with devotees, of course. And then we can have some vigra of the Lord at home and we worship the Lord, we offer food to the Lord. So these are few processes of Bhakti Yoga. Actually, it's a very great, each and everything has great details in all in that. I'm just giving a glimpse of this. And I think further in the discussion also it will be covered how to perform Bhakti Yoga in different processes. Because now the chapter which is going to start is Bhakti Yoga only. After 7 chapter, everything is Bhakti Yoga process Krishna is telling. And as I said that interestingly, this Krishna himself starts to speak. Arjuna didn't ask that question. Because Krishna knows that we are part and parcel of the Lord and we are supposed to serve the Lord. That's how we'll become happy. Otherwise, we cannot become happy. Our the soul which is hankering for love, that love will not be satisfied. And therefore, Krishna, with his compassion, he speaks this sloka and continues the discussion of Bhakti Yoga for the further chapters. So I think we can end over here. It's 8:34 now.